Time is X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
Welcome back, friends, to another edition of the Rocket Hour. As I don't have an undershirt on, Ricky. Day 1 of 4, right?
Day 1 of 4. I'm happy I didn't have to remind you. That was the whole key to this thing. If I reminded you, that's part of the deal. But it's another month if you don't do it. That's the stipulation. So yeah, I'm happy you remembered for yourself. How did you remember? Did you leave a note, or did you were you thinking about it the last 48 hours? How did that work?
Honestly, I put one on, and then I was walking in the office, and I said, uh-oh, nope, can't do that. So it may be a challenge. I laughed that off of I'll always remember. But when you wear one every day, for the last 10 years, it is kind of a challenge to remember not to do it. So if you don't understand what we're talking about, we did the over-under on the Jockey Challenge here, and Ricky dominates this thing. He cashes 3 out of 5. He's profitable here. I'll put your team up there first. This was never really in doubt as far as who was going to get the most. It was just in doubt of would David Cohen win a race. We'll talk about that in just a second when I talk about mine. But your team did really well, right, Ricky?
Yeah, well, it's ironic. The only difference we had, we'll start with the difference, was Johnny Velasquez. I mean, I went under, you went over, but we both went separate ways after that. Velasquez had no mounts on Sunday because he was out west, so that was pretty much a winner. At some point after the Gamine race, we pretty much knew that was over, even when he got to 2. Saez and Irad, well, you'll talk about your team, but I thought Saez was kind of a lock. He only needed 3 or 4 going into Saturday, and I think he only got 1 on Sunday, so that didn't really work. Jose Lezcano had 2 going into Friday, I think, as well. He couldn't get, or going into Saturday, maybe he couldn't get it. Manny Franco was the best winner by far. I mean, he had 3, I think, maybe going into Friday. He was absolutely dominant. He had 6 wins. Mike Somich sent us the standings. Manny Franco, looking here, so he had 5. So he didn't quite double, but just the main guys beat him, really. And the 2.5, I had said he was riding really, really well over the last few weeks. And that's how you take advantage of this thing, right? Because the averages lay out the numbers, lay out the over-unders, lay out the odds. But if you just take the last few weeks, Manny's been much better. And if you go by the law of averages over the course of a meet, you knew Manny Franco wasn't going to end up with those numbers. And he slowly but surely is getting back. Dylan Davis, I don't know what happened Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if he was serving a suspension or what the case was, but he didn't even ride.
No.
Or he didn't ride anywhere, let alone Saratoga. So that was a lock as well. It was good because I made a little money. I don't really remember the odds. I only went 3 and 2, and Dylan Davis was minus 150. But even my losses weren't bad. They weren't oh, I really missed that one. So, you have to wear an undershirt. But I had to pay for Sperry's while we were up there, so I'm pretty sure that doesn't outweigh the undershirt thing. That's only 4 days of your life, and no one's even going to see you. And you could throw an undershirt on after the show. So, it's not like I'm going to know. Whether you do or not, I'm not going to know anyway.
I accepted that bet pretty easily because it was the punishment was okay. So I wasn't worried about it. Let's go over mine. Irad gets 9, and him and Luis Saez the same way. Just needed to win 2 races on Sunday to get there. Neither one of them did. They both won 1. So Irad wins 9. Joel Rosario won 11 races on the weekend. So that was easily my best pick. A fantastic job by Joel Rosario. He was winning seemingly every day, 2 and 3. Ricardo Santana under 5.5. That looked like a lock until he won 3 races on the back half of the card at Saratoga on Sunday. So that doesn't cash. You talked about Velasquez. And the heartbreaker is this. Because of the juice, if David Cohen wins, I win this thing. So I had been getting dominated in this contest all week. If you followed it at all, you knew Ricky was like a lock to win this. He is just dominating me all week. We get to Dreamer's Disease in the 9th at Saratoga on Sunday. David Cohen has the mount. He's ahead for 99.99% of the race. He loses by a nose right at the wire and officially knocks me out. As Mark says, he killed me. Right there it was. I was watching this race on a plane. We were flying home, and I was like, he's going to win. He's going to win. Oh, I can't believe it. Now, thankfully, I had the winner on top that won, so that was a little, icing on the cake, but Dreamers, man, couldn't believe it. And yeah, Vinny actually singled Dreamers in that late sequence. I didn't know that till after. And then, I don't know the numbers, but Joel Rosario always seems to show up on the big days, even if he isn't riding well coming into it. You're right. And he did. So anyway, I got dominated. No undershirt for me the next 4 days. And you can tell my farmer's tan there, white as can be. It looks like I have a shirt on, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a farmer stand too. It's not about that. Let's start at the beginning. Mike Somich, who I think is in the background with no picture, he asked what I hated most about you when you did the show, and I said really nothing. Like, that's why we're here. That's why this is the stipulation. The stipulation for me would have been I have to talk about horses starting tomorrow. I don't know if it was one day or the rest of the week. Either way, I don't have to do it in 15 words or less. So because I ramble, which I don't disagree with. But yeah, so I didn't really hate anything about the way Halterman does it. So I had to come up with something. That's kind of where we are. But yeah, the Joel Rosario thing, he's unbelievable, especially on the grass. And it was ironic that Manny Franco, who had done so well for me, was able to catch David Cohen, who you needed. And we came on before, I'll wrap this up by saying, I would have been really pissed knowing that I dominated and that you just snipped it. Like I was 98% of the way there.
Yeah.
And going into the, Saturday and Sunday, you really started losing your cards. You only had trump card. Well, you had one trump card, and once Ricardo won, that even took a win away because we had marked that down as a win. So once that had happened, we're like, all right, it's really David Cohen or nothing. And it was really Dreamer's Disease, who actually ran really well. I just watched the replay because I was traveling home, but Sifting Sands. I don't know where Magic came up with that, but I'll take it. I had a different name coming on today, which I think we'll talk about. It's a good segue for us. We'll remove this here.
There you go.
We'll start with you. I think it's important we go over our names just for a few minutes. I'll start with you. Travers Hangover. I'll preface it by saying Sunday is always depressing the day after. It's still great racing if you're into it. But yeah, that Travers Hangover Sunday for you, 2 flights home. Have you fully recovered yet, mentally and physically, from this past weekend? And you can get into the Borat thing if you want to.
Physically, sure. I think today I woke up, I felt good. Mentally, I don't think we ever will recover from that trip and the images we saw on that trip. It was something to behold. If you haven't seen it, go to our Twitter feed, kind of scroll down a little ways now and look at all the Saratoga Slim content, or you can go on his Twitter feed as well. Guy dressed up like Borat. Got really, really into the character. It was amazing to see that. It was so much fun. And I'll let you talk about your name because I don't want to steal your thunder there, but Sunday was a good day as well, right, Ricky?
Yeah, I'm actually going to share a picture for everyone, and I'll get into it. I don't know. I can't really zoom in. Let's try this. Oh, there we go. Not really working. Anyway, so my name is Oliver Spector today. If you don't know who Oliver Spector is, that's Saratoga Slims, or we'll call him by his real name, Mike Spector's son. I had a great weekend. Honestly, forget about this betting challenge. Just being there, I've never been to a Travers before. It was unbelievable. I highly recommend you guys go if you can. This made my Sunday completely. I am not the super emotional person when it comes to babies or things like that, but I've never met a kid that's wanted to hang out with me ever. And I do like kids. Even Halterman, you asked me, you're like, you like kids, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I do a lot. And he's like, that's kind of surprising. I was like, well, we're really like, only doing like horse racing stuff for the most part, drinking, gambling, cursing, yelling, screaming. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't get to be in these situations often.
Right.
And this was my favorite part of the weekend. I was kind of iffy about going to brunch because my dad was up there and I kind of felt bad, but yeah, Magic, you might have to bring the little one down to San Diego. Well, I'll take the afternoon off to play babysitter because I would love to. Yeah, I think Oliver took to me and I took to him. The baby's incredibly cute. So is Ella as well, who I don't have a picture of, but I'm sure Halterman and Jared do. It was a great weekend overall, and this really summed it up. I think I had more fun on Sunday than I did on Saturday. Yeah. Well, it's funny, Dennis, most people my age group aren't into horse racing. Like it's usually older, right? Because I'm only 25, just turned 25 3 months ago. Most people my age aren't into it like I am. I know that was a shot, but it was poorly placed. No, not kidding. It wasn't poorly placed. You're right, though. Most people my age don't want to watch horse racing. So, yeah, this was my favorite part of the weekend. So I just wanted to get that out there. Hopefully, if Slim replays this, I'll tell him to go to the 8-minute mark. That was my favorite part of the weekend for sure.
Yeah, definitely a beautiful family Slim has, and it was really, really nice to kind of spend some quality time with Slim outside of horse racing as well. I mean, you say it for yourself, and it's definitely true. But to just kind of have a chill day over there, you got to give a shout out to his wife Kate. Made an amazing brunch for us. That was so nice of her, and it was just fun to kind of see a different side of everybody. So yeah, that's the thing. This group, of people that we've been able to meet through the sport is what makes this what it is. We posted something on Twitter, I think Sunday. It's just like we've met so many cool people. And now we're meeting their wives and their kids. And so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, Ricky definitely took to the little boy, and that was great. He loved Ricky. So it was great to see them interact, and a lot of fun. Saratoga Slim, one of the best guys. And, really all of our guys are just awesome, awesome people. So we're very lucky in that regard. But now that we're past that, we do have to get to the subject of the show. Unfortunately, I would love to talk about Sunday all day on here, but let's get to a little racing because there were some things on the track that, might have been semi-interesting to some people, Ricky. I don't know about you, but let's kick it off the grade ones, and we'll kick it off with what I would probably call the most boring of the 6 grade ones on the Travers card, but maybe the most dominant. It was Gamine. Gamine by a length and 3/4. Never really felt like she was in danger here. Kick it to you, Ricky. Were you ever really worried that she was going to win this race?
Yeah, so that's the difference between maybe me and the rest. I don't want to say she was in danger of losing the race. Can I be in the middle of? Yep. I want to be in the middle of not in danger of losing. Oh yeah, Ryan Stillman. He's a real bad guy.
Yeah, he's awful.
I was never concerned with her losing, but I wasn't all that comfortable either. And part of that reason is the price, right? At 1 to 5, I hate to be honest. You're supposed to be winning and drawing away. Now, the running lines here indicate that she was drawing away, but Aaron, I think you would admit she wasn't drawing away with ease. When you think of 1 to 5, it's like, all right, it's up by a length, then 2.5, then 3, and then 4, and then you can kind of relax. You never really felt that way into the final 50 to 100 yards. That's kind of what got me. So I'll be somewhere in the middle. I don't think she was ever going to lose. But if I'm holding a win ticket or a free square multi-race ticket or a straight exacta, whatever you played, I think you did have to sweat it out a little bit more than you would have liked. So I'll be somewhere in the middle. Good run by Lake Avenue for her odds. I think she ran an A race for her. CC I thought was decent, B+, A-, Sconson, not whatever, and then I don't need to get to the rest. So yeah, overall, not overly worried, but not overly thrilled to have to wait it out as well.
I kind of think to your point is accurate. It's just a little bit of, hey, let's round the corner and win by 5, and I don't have to sweat off this single that I didn't really want to single because of the prize, but you have to single because she's not going to lose, and I don't want to sweat anything out like that. Horses at different times kind of started to come up to her, and she kind of would just kick off, but to your point, it would be by a length. And then another one come back and she just kind of kick away again. I don't think she's quite as good as she was last year, but I mean, at the same time, I never really was nervous she was going to lose. It was more of just nervous for your bet. if you didn't have any money on the race, you didn't know the odds and you were watching, I don't think you would have ever thought she was in trouble. But I think what you said is pretty accurate there. All right, let's go on though, because I think that was the most boring of the 6. Like I said, this one was not boring, Ricky. This one had a little bit of everything. If you just read the chart and you don't read the comments, you think, wow, Yaupon by a head. What a battle that must have been. It was quite a battle. Frenzy Fire tries to bite, as the word is used, savage Yaupon down the stretch multiple times. I got to go, what was going through your head when you watched this live?
Well, I told you right after the replay, I was like, I think their equipment hooked up. Like, clearly I was wrong. Well, let's start there. I was completely. But I had never seen that before. And again, I have a harness background. I've seen horses. I've seen wheels. Like, if you're into harness racing, you would know this. I've seen wheels hook up.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets very, very dangerous, obviously. So that's what I thought. I thought, saddle cloths got tangled. I thought bridles, mouth bits, whatever the case may be. I thought if they got tangled up and if you're looking at it, mind you, we weren't looking at it head on. We're looking at it from a pan view. We're looking at it from our seat. It's like, I've never seen that before. And obviously it's come out that it happened to Frenzy Fire. I want to give a lot of credit to Yaupon, because just let's picture this for a minute. I don't even want to talk about the race, even though I'll let Aaron do that more. Just imagine you're running a race and you're neck and neck with a male, a female, older, younger, boy, girl, whatever, talented, not talented, whatever it is, and someone tries to bite you. Your first instinct isn't to keep running. Your first instinct is to push them out of the way, to fend them off, to stop running. The fact that we'll say Ricardo as well. Ricardo Santana was able to keep this horse straight, mind you, with the rail right there. You're not in the middle of the stretch, where you're drifting out, where there's room. Now you have two opponents. You have the rail and a savaging horse, or I don't even know how you say it. It was truly incredible. Magic asked me who my 3 stars of the week were. I don't know if Yaupon really deserves to be on it for his race, but the circumstances that I honestly can admit I will never see that in person ever again. I'd be willing to bet my life on it that I'll never see it in person, maybe on TV in a highlight. This was truly incredible. You can make the case, Aaron, he was first star just for surviving this. I know Essential Quality deserves to be, but I've never seen it. And it wasn't in the first turn, the backstretch. Like, this was in the final, couple hundred yards, like when the race was on the line, and Frenzy Fire probably would have won because he was gaining, stopped, and re-rallied in the final 20, 30, 40 yards. So
yeah,
I don't even want to talk about the race. I just want to talk about savaging. I also learned a new word. I didn't know what that was either. So everything about this was truly incredible.
It was incredible because I was 99% sure watching it live what I saw. I thought he tried to bite him. But before they showed us the replay, of course, everybody's going crazy and talking about it. And you guys kind of had me convinced that I didn't see what I saw. I was like, yeah, you're right. There's no way he tried to bite him. If something else had to have happened. And then I watched that replay, and we all just lose our minds. And it's so fun to watch it back now. It's just unbelievable, how just the anger in the eyes of Frenzy Fire is just like, wow, he was so mad. I think, Dennis, maybe this could be they were right next to each other for so long, and maybe Frenzy Fire just was getting frustrated that the horse wouldn't go away, so he tried to bite him. I don't know. This was amazing to watch in person. I don't think we'll ever forget that we might be 80 years old if we both live to be 80, talking about when we were at Saratoga in 2021 and we saw this happen. I mean, incredible.
I don't know if we're both living to 80 because I don't plan on living to 80. You might. I don't know. I'm not going to make it there. I truly, please someone chime in. Again, Aaron's officially the producer now, so he'll tell us if there are comments. Please tell us if you've ever seen anything like this. It doesn't even have to be horse racing, just something so wild that we can't believe. Because you're right, naturally, I've never seen that. So I just thought it was an equipment thing. And the way his head ducked in, it was fair to believe that, right? It's not like he tried to kick him where it's like, all right, well, we know what that is. We know horses kick each other.
Yeah.
But because the way his head jerked, and it wasn't one bite, he kept going back and back and back. I promise I will never, ever see that again. So I'll just leave it at that.
I would compare it to, as far as just wackiness, to like, when the band was out on the field, for the Cal Stanford game way back when, that's the kind of stuff. It's just like, it'll just never happen again. That crazy. And that in the thing, in a grade 1 race, a huge race, it's at Saratoga, mind you. And with Forensic Fire, who is an older horse, like you would think he wouldn't do things like that. You think he'd be a little more mature, but I guess it really doesn't have anything to do with maturity. It's a horse and he's mad, and his first instinct is to try to bite the other horse. So incredible. I will sum it up that way. All right, let's go on though so I thought, well, we'll never see anything better than the 8th race until the 9th race came, the Allen Jerkins. The 2 big stars, Ricky, Jackie's Warrior, Life Was Good. They threw it down here. I want to ask you this, though. Who do you think ran the better race here, Jackie's Warrior or Life Is Good?
Well, we always take circumstances into it.
Yep.
I personally think Life Is Good ran the better race just because of the layoff. Now, obviously, that's the thing about horse racing. You could run a better race, in my opinion, and still lose.
Yep.
For example, we see this with turf horses all the time. Like Dreamer's Disease, I think, well, if you want to talk about the 9th race, I think he ran the best race. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to cross the wire first. Just like in sports, you can play a better game, but you choke in the final few minutes or errors or whatever. I mean, I'll give Jackie's Warrior credit for battling back. Mike Smith said it. I think Fletcher said it as well. I mean, to run that way off a layoff was extremely impressive. I think he ran a better race. Now, I'll throw it back to you before I get to my point real quick. Did Life Is Good lose the race, or did Jackie's Warrior win it? Because I personally think Life Is Good lost it. I think he just ran out of stamina. Not out of time, obviously, he was winning. I just think it was kind of like it wore on him type of thing. So that's where I am before I get to my final point. Do you think he lost it or Jackie's won it?
I think Mike Smith lost it, to be completely honest. I think the rider made the difference. I think these horses are pretty similar. I think Life Is Good is a little bit better, and that's not a knock on Jackie, because right now he'd be my pick to win the Breeders' Cup Sprint. I think he's fantastic. But I think Life Is Good is just a freak among freaks. And so I think the rides were the difference. Mike Smith was wide a little bit. Jackie's Warrior never left the rail, so a little bit of ground saving situation there. And then just a strange ride down the stretch. And I think that was the difference. And when you add, okay, the ride was a little better for Jackie's Warrior, and then all the other factors of Jackie's Warrior's in form, this is probably where he's at in his wheelhouse distance-wise, where Life Is Good. We're not sure what his best distance is, plus the layoff. Plus, let's not forget, this is a brand new trainer, shipped him all the way across the country. You had the factor of, well, was this just a Bob Baffert type, or is this a legitimate horse? There were so many question marks, and he still almost won, and he still almost beat a horse that I certainly believe is the best sprinter in the country. So all those factors, I think Life Is Good just kind of lost it. And it just so happened that he went against a horse where he couldn't make very many errors in this spot, or he was going to lose.
Yeah, this is the first time all year I truly think that we don't say this often. I shouldn't speak for you. I never say this. I was pure. If I were, to play win bets, which I don't, but say I would have taken the horse solely with the better price. This is the first time all year, and we're what? Let's call it the end of August, when this race went off, August 28th. This is how close they were. And usually you say, you can make a case for one, or, you're stretching it. I truly think that we had no idea who the better horse was. This is where, for me, the first time all year where I was like, I don't really care what the lines say, what people are saying. I'll just take the horse with the better odds. Again, I think it was the first time I had said that. And you were getting 4-5 versus 3-2, and the 3-2 won. Not that Life Is Good couldn't. The Mike Smith thing is interesting. I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt, but the evidence is pretty damning against him. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at, right? If this is Irad Ortiz, you're going to say it's the horse. If this is, I hate to do this. If if you're John Court, you're going to say it's John Court. But the fact that it's Mike Smith, it kind of leaves you in the middle, right? It's like, well, he shipped all the way here. It's a Pletcher, previously Baffert. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it just doesn't look good. And we don't really know the true answer. Everyone can have their opinions. Joel obviously rode Jackie's Warrior as hard as he could. And I don't think Mike Smith did it. But the one thing that was interesting, and I don't like when Equibase chart callers get emotional / opinionated. That is not what you're supposed to do. That bothers me more than anything. Overconfident handling. I don't know who came up with the chart, but that is completely opinionated.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at on that. Do you have any opinion on the comment? I know it's not that big of a deal. Magic actually pointed it out on Twitter. Maybe it was sent to me prior to. It says overconfident handling, and we're looking at it. If you guys are just listening, you can go back and read it yourself or go to the chart on Equibase. It says overconfident handling in the comments. Does that bother you when a chart caller gets not emotional, but maybe opinionated, or are you okay with that in this situation?
I'm going to do one thing right now while we're thinking about this. I'm going to ask a guy who has called a million charts right now. I'm going to ask John White. I'm sending him a text literally right now. What does he think when the chart caller called that overconfident handling? And then when he replies, we'll tell the answer to somebody who's called charts. Yeah, it kind of does, because that's really not the point of a chart, But to Dennis's point, you are supposed to describe what happened. And so if that's what you believe, it's kind of a gray area almost. I don't know the right answer to that, I guess.
Well, so here's what I'll push back and say it's opinionated, because we're not entirely sure he was overconfident handling him. We've never seen Life is Good get whipped, ever.
Right.
So maybe that's something he's not comfortable with. I don't know. I'm just saying you better be accurate if you're going to say that. You better be 1,000% sure. And unless this person is he, she, older, younger, never watched a horse race, watches 1,000 a day, whatever it is, you better be sure. So I am interested to see what John White says. That would be probably the best person to answer that we know.
Yeah. So the Life is Good was rode like they didn't really care about this race, and he still almost won. It did look like that. I don't think that's accurate. Like, I think they cared about it, but that's how the ride looked. He just never really was pressed. The other thing is, Mike Smith said he doesn't really respond to the whip all that well. He kind of drifts out. Magic told me that last night. So there's something to that as well. I don't know, but I don't think they should have said overconfident handling. So like I said, I text him now and we'll see what he says about it. While we wait, let's go to the next race. It's race number 10 on the card, the Personal Ensign, and Latruska, despite blazing early, holds on and wins this race. Was this more of Latruska is just a beast and has a ton of heart, or was it the horses behind her just weren't that good, Ricky?
I don't want to criticize them and say they're not that good. Well, let's start here. Swiss Skydiver is no longer the runner she used to be. Okay, that's one. I think we could have. I was willing to give her one more shot. This was the shot. Officially out of that camp. As time goes by, I think she's like a better sprinter, going shorter. Probably she's not good enough. I think she's better when she can get the lead and try to establish it. I don't have her numbers in front of me. I don't think she's quite good enough here. I was interested in Harvey's Little Goyle. I'm no longer interested. Put her back on the turf immediately. Like halfway through the race, Louis Saya should have pulled her up and try to go on the turf course. Like try to break through the rail and see if she could run on the turf, because she doesn't belong on the dirt. I want to give credit, though, to horses Bonnie South and Dunbar Road, because those horses aren't bad. And to be honest with you, at this point, is Dunbar Road that much worse than Swiss Skydiver? Is Bonnie South that much worse than Swiss Skydiver? I'm not so sure. Yes, Latruska held on, but she was only up by a half a length. And then in the top of the stretch, a length. If Dunbar Road and Bonnie South weren't so far back, I think they would have caught her. I mean, it actually looked, Aaron, like at one point, Dunbar Road was going to catch her, to be quite honest. So I think someone's waiting in the wings, and I think that someone is Monomoy Girl. And I think if she can, all credit to her if she even makes it back to the track. If she makes it back to let's say 85, 90% of what her best is, she's going to be better than Latruska. I don't know if she will make it back, but I don't want to beat any of these horses to death, but I think Latruska got the better of a relatively weak Personal Ensign when we look back at it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Monomoy Girl returning for the Cigar Mile if everything goes right. So we'll see what happens there. Magic thought this would be a good spot for Harvey, and Harvey just didn't fire. Personally thought Harvey should get another chance on the dirt. Her ride was wide the entire trip. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She just didn't run very well. I'm with you. These horses just weren't great. They were trying to run her down. I think if you were going to beat her, this was setting up where you could. I was worried pretty much the whole race on this one because that's pretty fast for horses going a mile and eighth on this track at Saratoga. I thought Dunbar Road had it. I thought it was over. And then that horse just totally, just flattened. But I thought she was going to go by. And then you look, it's like, well, Bonnie South is not very good. So I'm with you. I think it's a combination of Latruska's really good. And if she gets an easier trip, I think she dominates. But the trip made it to where she was vulnerable and they still couldn't beat her. So I have to think if one decent closer or even stalker was in the race, it could have been a trouble for Latruska. But she gets the job done. All right, 11th race. This was a really good performance, I thought. A real eye-opener almost, I would call it. Gouffo, who's had big wins on the resume, but also has had some spots where, man, he just barely missed or just didn't run quite good enough. I thought this was a really sharp effort from him. He beats Japan. Japan comes flying late to win by a neck. What are your thoughts on Gouffo, and can this be a Breeders' Cup Turf winner?
I think he can because this horse is just so inconsistent. He is like my type of horse. First of all, I always like turf runners more than dirt runners. I've been on the record saying that. He always, even when he debuted, he just always gives you a good effort. He might not win, but you're getting at least an A- effort every time he hits the track. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important. He's a great horse to use in multis. Japan, we looked at Japan like right in front of us. We're like, whoa, that horse is a little small compared to the rest. And he ran extremely well. This was like the 5th favorite in a row or something like that. I mean, It was, maybe not 5th because Jackie's Warrior was second choice, but second, 3-2 or less, basically. This was stunning, to say the least, that Gouffo was able to just hold on. Japan was running. Joel Rosario on the turf and Ryan Moore, I think, were the 2 best riders in here. I mean, Tribivin I thought was pretty bad. That's the one horse that I was like, whoa, this horse stunk. Because not too long ago, he was running against Domestic Spending, who we think would have beaten these horses. I really do like Gouffo. Is he a Breeders' Cup winner? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You know what the good thing about him is? He's going to be the right price if you do want to play him, I think. I think that's the important thing here. Japan. I want to ask you about Japan. I don't know what the plans are. This is a Magic thing. Not a Magic thing, but Magic knows these types of things. I don't know if he's shipping back or not. I don't know if he stays here. Is he going to get another race? I'm interested to see what his storyline is because we're 9 weeks away or so. That's what I'm interested to see what happens with him, just to see if he sticks around or not.
I thought he was good. I didn't think he was great. A lot of people are criticizing Ryan Moore for the ride, but I mean, I don't know. I thought he was good. He was making up a ton of ground late, and I think that's something you got to look at. As Magic says, Aiden usually ships back the day after. Yeah, so he'll go back, and then who knows on the return. We'll see. I think he ran well enough to give it a shot. There's no doubt about that. He was solid in this race. You were right, though. We looked at these horses very closely as they came onto the track. We were right there. This horse is not impressive in the flesh whatsoever. I would say he's the least impressive of the 7 in this race. Would you agree with that? I mean, he was tiny.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Again, it's not all about size, but when you get to the top level, you start to nitpick a little bit. And that's why Aaron and I always say, listen to people like Maggie and Acacia and people, Richard Migliori, because they know better. Not only do they know better than us, they've worked with horses longer. Richard was a rider. Maggie rides horses day in, day out. They're also on site. We can only get so much information by watching a live stream or the Fox feed. So I think it's really important. But you're right. Japan was not intimidating. If you were just to bet on size, you would have thought Japan should have been like a maiden claimer just on size alone.
Yeah. And also on the Maggie point and the Richard McLaury point, and even Acacia, not so much with Japan, but the other horses that are regulars on that NYRA circuit, they see them over and over and over. So one day they see them, they look great. And then the next race they see them and they don't look as well. Well, they can kind of compare the two. So that they are really, really good resources. I want to put this comment up because I also bet on Tribuvon, who Flavian Pratt was on. I don't have that same thought, Nick. And let me see if I can scroll down. No, you can see the fractions there. The fractions were really, really fast for going this distance. Channel Maker just screwed that race up for Tribuvon. I wouldn't have wanted him on the lead. I think he would have faded even harder than he did. I thought Pratt made the right decision to just kind of keep him off of it and say, well, he's going to have to stalk and win today because we're not going to go that fast. Channel Maker, for whatever reasons, blew out there like an idiot. I don't know. I just was not a fan of what Channel Maker did. So screw you, Manny Franco. That's how I will look at that one. But Tribuvon, he seemed to be traveling okay. He wasn't really tugging that much. And then he rounded the corner. I thought he was going to be right there with a chance to win, and then he just flattened out. So I guess that pace was a little too hot, and he was chasing just a bit there. But I hope we see Japan and Gufo coming back for the Breeders' Cup. I think that would be awesome. All right, main event time, Ricky. The Travers. Boy, we saw another great race here. Just a duel down the stretch. Midnight Bourbon gets away with such easy fractions here. Almost holds on to win. Essential Quality gets the job done. Give us your thoughts on this Travers. The first Travers you and I both have seen live and in person.
Yeah. You know what this kind of reminds me of? Not in the running style, but authentic. And this is what I want to make. A lot of people, I really got into it last year. Obviously started with you guys like completely full time. But one of the things that, people criticize in sports, and will throw horse racing into it, even though they're equine athletes, not human athletes. Sometimes winning, even when it's ugly, is still impressive. And what I mean by that is Essential Quality never blows you away. Authentic never blew you away. Remember Authentic beat, I think it was Dr. Post in the Haskell. Was it Dr. Post?
No, it's New York Traffic.
New York Traffic.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I got him confused. Right. Dr. Post. Okay. Whatever. But it's like, it wasn't that impressive. It was a small field, and we're like, that's not going to be good enough. And mind you, last year, the Kentucky Derby was later in the year because of COVID. Things were switched up. The schedules were different. And he won that race, and he beat Tiz the Law, and everyone, is like, Tiz the Law, Tiz the Law. It's kind of like this way with Authentic. Now, Authentic hasn't lost outside of the Derby, but it's kind of like the, well, he just keeps winning type of thing. And maybe this 3-year-old crop other than him isn't good. Aaron, I would make the case that the sprinters are better than these, route runners. If you Jackie's Warrior, Drain the Clock, Life is Good, these horses that are maybe going one turn now are probably more talented. They're just not good enough, or I shouldn't say not good enough. They're just not suited for this distance. I want to give another shout out real quick to Midnight Bourbon. I thought he actually took a step forward. He ran his race and it just wasn't good enough. That kind of goes to show you the quality of Essential Quality. I didn't mean to do that. But I think you could take him as a legitimate contender in a real 3-year-old race. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him on Breeders' Cup Day, because he'll be 30-1 if they were to put him in the Classic. But we've seen crazier things happen. He would have to outkick Nick Sko, which I don't think he can do, but I wouldn't hate it if they considered it. But he I think, took a step forward as well. But Essential Quality, still the best 3-year-old in the country, hasn't changed my mind since the year started.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think this horse he's just too darn good. He just is so good at doing whatever they ask him to do. Like this race, the pace was a hell of a lot slower than some of the previous races he's been in. So where was he sitting? He was in second this time. They placed him to where he was within range. He wasn't, sixth or seventh up the backside or like he has been in some previous races. He'll do whatever the jockey asks him to do. And that is just fantastic. So I love Essential Quality. He's my pick right now to win the Classic because I just assume that Nick's Go is going to have some pace pressure, and Essential Quality is going to be the one to pick up the pieces. I'm not really worried that the horse only wins by a neck, and I totally agree with what you're saying. It's just a situation where he just does what he has to do. Once he got to Midnight Bourbon, turning for home, I never once thought he was going to lose because he's going to get by you, and he's not going to let you by you once he does. So super effort, really, really impressive. This horse, now a Belmont, Jim Dandy, and Travers winner. That is a very good 3-race win streak for sure. Let's see. Let's get to some of the comments here. Yeah, Dynamic One finishing last, summarize that. And then he kind of said, was anything wrong with Dynamic One? Have we heard anything? I fully expected Nick to hear something like he got injured or something happened to him. I have not heard anything. He was pretty shocking, Ricky, to just be a no-show here, right?
Yeah, I thought he sucked. And I actually liked him going into it. I'll be the first to admit it.
He was awful.
I don't know. He was awful. I was hoping someone came out and said he got hurt just to make an excuse. I'm not hoping the horse is hurt. I'm just hoping that they came out and said that so we knew what went wrong. I don't think we ever thought he was good enough to win here, but he was a lot of people's sexy choice, or
Yep.
or at least run second. I mean, he was horrible. Keep Me in Mind officially has the most air miles of any horse I've ever seen. I guess you just continue to pick up checks. He just made $85,000. That's more than you're going to do winning a grade 3. So,
Yeah.
Or a non-graded, I should say. So,
yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, typical, right? That he just runs there.
He did his thing, right? He does what they ask him to do too. He can't win. So
yeah, he can't win, but he just runs really well. I mean, he's good at. I mean, Miles D is probably a little bit better, but we never thought he was really better than Midnight Bourbon. We thought Dynamic One was. Essential Quality, we knew he's not better than. But yeah, I think he ran. I think he ran a B race for him. A B+ race for him. Again, but his odds indicated that he wasn't supposed to do that well, and he beat a few horses at least, and cashed a check in the process.
This comment's really cool. How awesome. The top 2 horses, talent-wise, from last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile are heading to this year's Breeders' Cup with solid chances to win at age 3. Of course, talking about Jackie's Warrior with a great chance to win the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and obviously Essential Quality with the Classic. Yeah, it's awesome. And then Nick chimed in. Listen, Rombauer was also in that, and he won the Preakness. So obviously this juvenile was very, very, very good this year. Much better than the years previous. This was just a great juvenile class that has come on and been very, very good at 3-year-olds. And even to Nick's point, even though Jackie's Warrior lost as the favorite there, fast early fractions, he was chasing them, and he's a sprinter, so for him to finish 4th in that race, as tough as we're saying that it is, really, really, really nice. So hats off to that Breeders' Cup Juvenile field is continuing to show their class. We had also a comment come in. Anybody remember the one horse on Wednesday? Nice little dinner on someone. That's right. My boy Ricky P did cash, or did live up to that bet, or let us cash that bet, I should say. He paid for dinner at Sperry's on let's see, what night was that? Thursday night, and it was great. We had a good little time. So yeah, I'm happy that Ricky made that bet.
I'm happy. Okay, I'm happy that came up. I wasn't going to talk about it. A lot of people gave me flack for the calculator thing. Ask Aaron. I'm pretty sure that the random person on the street, if you were just pick one out, I'm pretty sure that I could do mental math just as well. If and Aaron saw it this weekend, like, I'm good at mental math. It wasn't for that. That's not why I was using the calculator. And it wasn't that it was a cheap tip either. I got one DM saying that looks like a cheap tip. How do you know that's a cheap tip? It said like $300 and something on there. So that doesn't give you anything. Yeah, so that bothered me because I don't take pride in many things, but mental math is one thing that I take pride in. I'm pretty good at it, I would say, for the most part. So yeah, so that was interesting. A lot of people said, "Oh, what's with the calculator?" Something about I don't want my handicapper using a calculator. One water for no, everyone got their own water. Everyone got their own water. That bill was expensive. I have to, not as expensive as the next night where that the racing dudes picked up, which was at Wheatfields.
We got dessert and we got appetizers too. So, and we were drinking. So we made him pay for it.
Yeah.
Ricky, and I know you know this, but people just hate for no reason on Twitter. That's just what it is. Some people live to hate on other people. I choose not to live that way, but some people do. And
I gave my full 20%. I did not cheap out. Again, what I told Aaron, I don't know if it was Thursday, maybe Friday. I said, you don't come to Saratoga during racing season to save money. If you do, you're an idiot. It's not the type of place to do that. I'm not saying you just throw hundreds around for fun either, but it's like, if you go out 4 people that you're drinking, you're eating, you're clearly not worried about the bill, it's going to run you $300 unless you go to Shake Shack. Other than that, a real restaurant where you sit down, you dress decently, it's going to run you at least $200 at a bare minimum. So I had no mind paying it off. For the record, to show you how much of a good guy I am. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for respecting me. I appreciate it. Not many people my age would have paid off the bet at Sperry's. Let's start. Most people would have said, "Oh, I'll get you Shake Shack or something else." Wouldn't have done it there. I Venmo'd Aaron because I didn't think I was going to be there on Thursday night. So I said, "Here," I sent him $300 off the bat, and I was like, "Here you go. I'm not going to be here. Either spend it all or just send me back whatever it was." And Aaron could attest to that. So I did not cheap out. It wasn't a good bet that I made, but I did not cheap out, and I paid my debts. So I want to be on the record that people at the racing dudes pay their bets, just like Aaron is right now with his lack of undershirt.
I'm just so glad that mine's the lack of undershirt. That's great.
Well, wait, what happened with the Chad Brown bet?
Well, the meet isn't over yet.
How are we looking? I know Mike's not here anymore, but do you feel comfortable? I don't know what the stand. That's a good segue to get into the jockey standings, trainer standings, I guess.
Yep.
So, I'll introduce that. I don't know if this was off air, I believe. I picked Todd Pletcher to win. So did Mike. Aaron was extremely confident in Chad Brown, and he said, or Mike offered like 3.5. Mm-hmm. He would win by 3.5. He's up by 9. I'm pretty sure that if Chad Brown were to not win another one, he would probably still win. Now, I don't know if he would cover the 3.5. Probably not. He'd probably still win, though. So if Chad gets anywhere to 40, close to 40, this thing is over, and so is the bet. That bet is that there's a $150 pick 5 ticket. Mike Samich has to contribute 100. Aaron has to contribute 50. It's not nearly as bad as my loss. My loss will still go down. Is the worst one. Aaron's loss is going to go down as the best loss since he just doesn't have to wear a $2 t-shirt. How are you feeling about it now? I'll admit I was wrong. I thought Pletcher's 2-year-olds were going to get going, but Chad's clearly kicked on. All of his numbers now are pretty much tops outside of the win percentage, and Brad Cox has a small number. But it looks like Chad Brown will get the job done for you here in 2021, like you predicted at the beginning of the summer.
Well, here's what happened. I had seen the past performances for Wednesday and Thursday. I don't know what you had too. I don't know why you picked Pletcher.
Well, but in my defense, I didn't make a bet.
Well, no, that's true. No, you're right. You're right.
I stayed away.
And Samich was traveling Wednesday, didn't have to play the NHC. Didn't have Sama bombs on Wednesday. So he may have not even looked at it, because I looked at that and I even I think I texted Jared and I said, by the time we land at Saratoga, Chad's going to have like 4 wins. Or I'm sorry, 5 wins, because I thought he would win 4 on Wednesday, and I thought he could win one or two before we even landed on Thursday. And he did. I mean, his horses just ran off the screen on those couple of Wednesdays, Thursdays there, and he dominated. And, I probably won't even look at the standings again. This is over. It's going to be a double-digit win probably for him now. I don't know. Maybe Pletcher makes up a few. There's some nice 2-year-old races, and he'll have some in it. But he's going to win by more, than 3.5, no question. So it's funny, Ricky. We come on here every week, and it's like, oh, he's not ahead. Maker's still ahead. Last week, Maker was ahead on this show, and now Chad is ahead by 9 from Pletcher and 10 from Maker. That's called having a week, folks. I mean, this was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, he's 82 in the top 3, 82 of 147, so that's 56%. He's up to 23% win percentage. That's probably 4th or 5th. But again, Danny Gargan's had 29 runners. Joe Sharp's had 25. Atras 42. The amount of runners that he's had. Triples, quadruples, quintuples, the rest of that group. I don't think that you're right. I don't think there's too much. The only reason I think you should check. This was interesting as well. The ROI is much higher for Chad Brown as of late because a lot of people have been not fading, but not as much confidence. There's an interesting. I'm going to try to find this as well. Let's move to the jockey standings now. This thing is over completely. So been over for a while, and Luis Saez is up by 13. The one thing to note was Jose Lascano. I forgot where that stat was. I saw it in ROI. Maybe Nick, if you could bring up the ROI stats for jockeys. I think someone posted that as well. Jose Lascano is 5th, which to my point, I should say. Aaron didn't disagree, but it's the what he's getting versus what the other riders are getting is phenomenal. What do you have to say? I know you took Irad Ortiz over 5.5 in our bet, 9.5 in our bet. I took Luis Saez over 9.5 as well. We both missed by 1. This thing's been over for a long, long time now. Luis is going to win. Are you willing to put Luis Saez as the best rider in the country, or are you still going to hold off?
Yeah, I think he's the best, no question. He's dominating the best race meet. I think he has the best jockey agent. I think that is certainly plays a big part in it as well. So yeah, he's fantastic. This is over. It's completely over. Listen, what about our little sleeper bet? Jose Lascano has been dominating Manny Franco, but Manny had a huge week, and now Manny's ahead of Lascano. It's crazy how this has changed in the last couple of weeks. So we got a head-to-head battle there as well. It's been fun to follow this all year, but yeah, I mean, Luis said it's over. It's definitely over. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say I was gonna just bring up Magic's point. He never gets first call for anyone, never. Not that Manny really does either, but Manny's more likely to. If a lot of people would give Manny the mount, especially because it's the law. Maybe the year prior to, we had a different conversation, but Jose Lascano just continues to ride really, really well. I mean, he's 43% in the top 3. That's ahead of Tyler Gaffalione. That's ahead of Ricardo Santana. That's 4% away from Joel. It's 3% away from Luis. I mean, Manny Franco, you're right, racked up the wins the last 2 weeks. Manny's still at 28%, just to show you how bad he was prior to that. He's at 28 now. What was he, in the low 20s? I'll ask you this question. I know it's not a jockey question, but I have a question too before I forget it. So he's talking about Steve Asmussen, Yao, Jackie's Warrior, Bo Liam. What do you do? I'm kind of with Magic here. Just send them all to the sprint and see what happens. I mean, how can you not do that, right? I mean, Bo Liam looks maybe not quite there, but in a few months, maybe he will be there with these two. What would you do? Would you try to spread them out, or would you just send 3 horses and hope they run 1, 2, 3?
They all need to run 6 furlongs. They all three can't go a mile, a 1-turn mile or a 2-turn mile. Excuse me. So what else you can do with them? I mean, if they're all doing well and running well, I'd put them all in there and just see what happens. Jackie's Warrior, he kind of proved that he can sit off if the pace is crazy hot. So I don't think you're worried about him. I think Yalpon and Bo Liam, they're probably going to be forwardly placed. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean, I would run all three and just see what happens with them. You might as well. They've shown they're really, really good, really, really talented runners. Might as well give them a shot in the biggest race.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hard because Steve Asmussen knows that he can't win all three races with all three horses. It's literally impossible. But again, this is what they do best. Let them go figure it out. A lot of things have changed, and I'm not gonna say this. There's a long ways away to the Breeders' Cup. One can suffer an injury. One can get sick. One takes a bad step and is sidelined for a little. There's a lot of things that can happen. What happened to Nashville? Yeah, Nashville was also in his barn. Do we know exactly what's going on with him, or I don't
let me see if he's had a work. I haven't seen or heard from him in forever. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's
honestly,
probably retired.
Nashville was one of the more, to be honest, Nashville might have been more talented than the Alpine. I mean, Nashville was, at his best, Nashville was probably the best sprinter in the country. Bo Liam is not at that point.
No.
So someone chimes in, life is good, stay sound for the rest of the year. The dirt mile is his for the taking. Yep. I don't disagree. I don't disagree because he's not a sprinter. He's not going to the Classic. The dirt mile, the big ass fans, whatever the heck they call it, dirt mile. That's probably his as well. It'll be interesting, someone like Silver State. The Silver State go to the mile, the Silver State go to the Classic. They probably will go to the Classic with him, but what if it's not his? It's not life is good for the taking. If a horse like Silver State runs in it, he
will eat him for lunch if he runs Silver State in that race. I guarantee you.
You think life is good would eat him?
He'll kill him.
I think that would be interesting though, because to be honest, if you're the connections for Silver State, do you have a better shot? I think you have a better shot versus Life is Good than you do Knicks Go. Would you agree or disagree?
It just depends on what's in there for Knicks Go. If he gets out on an easy lead, I agree with what you're saying. But I think if Knicks Go's boom or bust, right? If he gets out on an easy lead, you're never going to beat him. But if he gets pressured, there might be 6 horses that beat him. So it's kind of a hard question to answer. It just depends on how the race sets up. My opinion on Life is Good, if they spot him smartly, he won't lose again. That's the kind of talent I see from him.
Well, so Nick says, I think Life is Good is going to the Classic. Who knows? Maybe he gets another race in him and then they try the Classic. I guess we're getting a lot of comments here. Silver State to the Clark seems like a fantastic spot. Yeah, I don't disagree. Try to get another win under his belt beforehand. I would, unless someone monstrous shows up, Silver State would be the favorite in the Clark, I would assume. Yep. I don't know who's pointing to that off the record, but unless Silver State's still a top 5 horse at that sort of, at the Classic distance, the mile distance, no turf runners, no sprinters. Silver State's right there. He makes sense. Yep. They're going to stretch him out at Belmont, and that would be the test to see what his plan is. Yeah, for I guess Life is Good. Mm-hmm. Magic says, I don't want to go over. I want to try to go over everyone's comments. Don't you think it's too much? He's never gone beyond 5.5, behind 8.5. Third start. I can't speak. Third start off an injury, trying 10 for the first time against all that class. I probably agree with Magic. I think Life is Good as a mile horse. What do you think? If you think he could do it, obviously you have to try it. The problem is, I think him and Knicks Go might just tire themselves out. I don't know if that's the spot. That makes Essential Quality to me much more attractive if that were to happen.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go to the Classic. I think it'll be the Dirt Mile. I think that makes the most sense. I think you progress him up, and then maybe next year you try to stretch him out in distance a little bit. I'm with Magic. But the question isn't what we think; it's what will the connections do. That's the whole key. And so maybe Nick's saying, "Hey, I think he's going to the Classic based on the connections." And maybe they want a piece of that bigger purse. It's possible. We'll see. I do not think he is. I think he can win it, a race like the Classic, if he can go that far. The question is, I'm not entirely sure he wants a 1.25 miles yet, because we simply just haven't seen it. We've seen him once at 1 1/16, and he was very, very good. But 1 1/8 usually is where they start to separate, where you can really see, don't really want to go that far. So that's what's yet to be seen. And so to Gavin's point, Gavin says if he goes to the Pennsylvania Derby, or that's where he thinks that's where they're going to go, we'll get to see you there, right? It's a longer race, 1 1/8. You've got Hot Rod Charlie that's going to be there, so you've got a horse that could really test him. That'd be a really good, testing ground for. Let's see how good he is here. That would be a tough race to win if he shows up there. So that's something to look forward to in September.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you. Let's see what happens. Luckily, we still have not quite 2 months, a little more than that, 9 weeks or so to decide. There are a few things before we wrap up that I want to get to. The first one, and we'll talk about Thursday. I told Aaron off air, there's a horse running for David Dunk on Thursday, I think in the 6th, Lazarito. It's a Jimmy Bond horse. I will be doing a pick 5, some sort of pick 5 ticket, because that's race 6. So I'm going to try to include, I'll do one extra race. Kendrick Carmouche, Aaron, back in the saddle next Monday. I think he's going to be at Parks, so that's good news. And the final thing is doing a free money giveaway starting tomorrow through Labor Day. It's going to be one race. I think it's going to be about $20 a day. Free, mind you. You don't have to pay. Completely free. I did it for the Indiana Derby, but I did 50. I got to scale it back here, Halterman, because if I'm going to do it for 6 days, I can't afford to give away everything. So it's going to be, if you guys are listening, I'll post it on Twitter as well. I'll have the Racing Dudes retweet it, every day as well for you guys to get going. $20. All you have to predict the winner and the length. There's literally nothing to lose. You just send me a DM. If you respond to the tweet, it will not count. The other stipulation is you must be following me. If you are not following me, it also doesn't count. But that's it. It's completely free. I did it for Indiana Derby Day. Ask Aaron Halterman, who was with me. It went over really, really well. I was sweating it out. Luckily, Mr. Wireless won. No, I'm not made of money, but I told Halterman I save a lot. I don't really spend much. But yeah, I want to do it because it's a closing week of Saratoga. I'm not made of money though. My money.
It's easy to have money when you live with your parents. You don't have bills, right?
My money comes from this guy and the money I make. Yeah, no, that's true. Saving money at home. Going to be moving out in a couple months, so these giveaways might be few and far between. But I'm going to do it every single day. The one stipulation, I won't do it if I think on Thursday it's a turf stakes race. If that gets taken off and there's 3 horses, I'll probably pick another race. We'll see. I'm not going to have a 3-horse field and let people do that. That does make sense. But yeah, stay tuned for that as well. I will do it through Monday. I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys. I'll have Aaron come on here as well and tell me who his pick is. He could respond on, he doesn't have to send a DM. He's different. Everyone else, you need to send a DM. So he will do that. I won't give a pick, but I'll have Aaron do that. He'll give us his horse and the length of the winner. Again, it's completely free. So don't worry about sending money, whatever. Just you have 30 seconds and you're interested in $20, give it a shot. So that's it. Aaron, the last day, it's final day of August. It's been a quick month for us. It's been a quick month, and final week of Saratoga as well. So that is kind of depressing. Flying home and knowing that I, got to go up 3 times this year. Me personally, you did more, and then knowing I wouldn't be back for a year, that was kind of sad. But what are you going to do? But we do have one more week of coverage of the Rocket Hour. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll be back. The last 3 pick 4s of the year.
for Saratoga. I don't know. No, we're not going to do a Monday show. I almost said let's do a Monday show, but I'll be ready for a break then. So this is it. Saratoga is over after this week. So make sure to check out the Rocket Hour the last 3 days of the meet. It's been a very fun meet. Fun interacting with you guys as well. What's the matter, Ricky? You okay?
No, I'm not. You know why? Because I just got a text saying Lazarito is scratched. Literally 30 seconds. I got a text. Now I'm trying to find out what the issue is. I'm literally someone, if you're on the iPhone or the Mac, like someone has those bubbles. Okay, so this, I'm not going to divulge what it is. The Lazarito is going to be scratched in the 6th race on Thursday. I was concerned weather-wise, but yeah, he's going to be scratched. And I quote, I got the text, "I'm so effing pissed." From the connection, literally the connections. Now it's a partnership. It's not Jimmy Bond himself. These people were going to drive up. I told Aaron, these people were going to drive up from Long Island to watch. I was going to try to go as well. So we don't have to worry about that. All right, Aaron, this is a question for you before we wrap up. How about a tip for Parks today? Race 6, number 1. What do you think? I haven't looked at Parks. I'm already on Friday's card since I have a wedding. So I'll let you take this one.
Race 6, number 1, Whistling Fool at Parks. I can see it. I can definitely see it. I think the one can win. I've got that horse second. So yeah, let's do it. I'll bet the 1 if you say so, Gavin. I will bet the 1, Whistling Fool, first at Parks. There you go. I like that. Also, I'll end the show with this. John White texted me back on the chart calling overconfident handling. He said, "Not a phrase I've ever used in the thousands of charts I've called. I did use the phrase confident handling, but never overconfident. That's going a bit far, I think. What he might learn the hard way is you make a rather strident comment like that, and you might just get physically attacked by the rider while on your way to your car after the races one day." So that's John White's way of saying that's a no-no, and he's going to be in some trouble for that one.
Yeah, okay. So there's a few. We'll break that down real quick. One, again, you better be damn sure. Like Mike Smith better have come out in a quote and said, "I was overconfident." If you do that, I think that John White's not talking about that. I think it's fine. The other thing is you're now right. It's a detriment. If you're going to be positive, Magic's right. I mean, okay, I don't know about the getting attacked thing because we can't confirm who the chart caller is, maybe. So I don't know. It is funny though. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like you don't do that, especially when you're not sure. That's like criticizing someone for doing drugs when you don't know. You might want to have that information from the horse's mouth or the jockey's mouth in this case.
If you want to be an angry gambler, get on Twitter and be an angry gambler. That's fine. Get on whatever social media channel you want to get on. But when your job is to be a professional for a chart calling situation at Equibase, you don't put your angry gambling comments in the comment line. That's not what that is for, period.
I'm also, how about this? Why hasn't that been changed? Are they not allowed to change it? No, I'm being serious. Like, is that a thing where we don't change it? We're not allowed to? Because I'm guessing we're not the only ones who have brought that up. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. So can't we go back in there and adjust caught in final strides? There you go. I just gave you the chart. I mean, I don't know. Just make it up.
I think Magic said something that I think needs to be what it is, but that was a long, long time ago. Let me see if I can find it. The wording should say something like patiently handled until quarter. Exactly. And Dennis said, till the 16th pole, even like patiently handling till late, or the 16th pole or the quarter pole, something like that, where you could say, yeah, that's where that is.
It can be theoretically changed. They go back and change them if a horse DQs after the fact. Or okay, right, maybe like Medina Spirit type of thing.
Well, and let me give you a story of where these chart calling, you may think they're not that important. They really are. One time, and I'm going to butcher this. This isn't word for word what happened, but John White was calling a chart, and the horse was hit by a bird. on the backside. He was struck by a bird, and it caused the jockey to do something that wasn't to instruction. And the jockey came back and said, the horse got hit by a bird. I had to adjust things for a minute, and they didn't believe him. Well, the chart comes out, and John Whitehead wrote in the chart, horse was struck by a bird. The owners read that. The jockey got to keep the mount on that horse because, well, if it says it in the chart, if the chart caller saw it, it had to have been true. So there's situations where it does make a difference. It's not, don't think that those comments are just, well, they're worthless. That they do, people read them, especially owners and trainers of these horses.
I completely agree. I think that's why chart calling is interesting. If you're not sure about a chart, just go watch the replay. Mm-hmm. It takes like 7 seconds, especially to watch at the end. Charts become official record. What Equibase writes is what you have to be accurate, not emotional. I completely agree. Accurate is not overconfident handling. You don't, unless Mike Smith came out and said that, then you don't know. Then it's speculation. Or unless we have some sort of confirmation that Mike Smith was on a phone call or, quoted as saying that. I'm guessing this chart caller doesn't have that. No. I'm with you. No. Nope. Sorry. Okay. I like how it's worded personally because it stands out to me. I would immediately want to watch a replay. Okay. The back. Okay. So this is what I would say. I think Equibase, I don't know if they do this still. They used to have like a red arrow. The red arrow would lead you to the video replay section. Now you have to watch. You don't have Equibase makes you buy the replays. But if you have a Twin Spires, a DRF bets, a TVG, all that type of thing, you can go watch them for free. The other thing is that is tricky at times that Mike was doing that. We can't. All right, I'll just leave it here because now I'm going to start to get frustrated. We can't confirm that. If this horse doesn't like to be whipped, then we don't know. Like, what if he just starts freaking out when he gets whipped? Is that the better option? I mean, sure, maybe Mike was a touch overconfident, but I don't think Mike Smith is the reason the horse lost. Personally, that's just me.
Well, listen, I think he is why the horse lost, but I still don't think you can put overconfident handling. There's no way to prove that he was overconfident in the race with 100% accuracy. It's an opinion. Is my opinion of him being overconfident? Yes. I have that opinion. It is not a fact, and it will never be proven to be a fact. So that's where the problem lies.
Right, exactly. The chart calling makes it official, and mind you, you're working for Equibase. So this is getting past your Equibase. It's not like you're your own chart caller on Twitter. If you want to call your own charts and write it down on a piece of paper and not be official, sure. Then you could write whatever you want down. This is an official website that I don't want to say millions, thousands of people look at. I think that's the big difference. I think this wraps it up nicely. I agree that the emotion should be taken out of it. Just again, personally, the comment stands out. Yeah, that's fine. I think there could be an arrow or something. They used to have like an arrow, so it's like this is a warning signal. Go watch the replay. Or even in the words, we've seen stuff like bumped, steadied, pulled through, vibe between, whatever it's called. Like certain words should be indicators to go watch as well. But yeah, that's enough with that. Aaron do you have a show today? Do you have a Dudes Who Bet Sports today?
No, that's going to be on Thursday. We're switching to Thursdays, and then we'll also have a Monday show as well. So yeah, and we're going to be doing that on Thursday, covering all the big college football games coming up. We'll probably talk a little bit about the news today of Cam Newton being released by the Patriots. That was a shock. And we'll talk a little bit about how bad Nebraska is on the show as well. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. Quick thoughts before we wrap up. For me, I think Mac Jones had already won the job. And this was them kind of letting him off the hook. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't want to be a backup. Maybe it was the COVID thing. Maybe it wasn't. That was just my initial reaction. Are you kind of in the same boat that Mac Jones had won the job and they're kind of just not going to hold him back? Because it's not good for Mac Jones to have that over his shoulder the whole season.
Yeah, my guess is Mac Jones won the job and they went to Cam and asked, what do you want to do here? Do you want to be the backup or do you want to, or do you want to go somewhere else? That's just a total guess. I have no idea. My dad called me and we kind of speculated the same thing. It's like, yeah, Mac Jones is just better and he won it. And now we'll see what happens with them. But yeah, no Cam. It was pretty shocking. Still, you don't expect to see that come through on a Monday, or I guess this is Tuesday morning. So yeah, pretty interesting. But he's not very good. He wasn't very good last year, and he's kind of done, I think. So there's that. All right, let's get off of here, Rick. Any final thoughts? Or are you ready to leave?
Final thought: go get vaccinated. If you play in the NFL and you don't want to lose your job, might help if you want to get vaccinated.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good situation there. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get political with people. But here's the deal. That I guess I will. This is not a political thing. They've made it a political thing. The media has, your leaders one way or the other, who no matter who you follow, have made it political. It's not. It's a health thing. So do some research and do what you think is right. So, all right, guys, we're going to get off of here now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We got a big 3 shows ahead coming up with Saratoga this week, along with all of our regular shows as well. We'll be recapping the Travers on Blinkers Off. I'm sure Magic Mike recapping NHC today. Then also a pick 4 on Thursday. And then if you want a Travers recap on Magic Mike, I was with Magic yesterday. We did a Travers recap. So a lot going on. Still one more fun week to go here. Good luck if you're playing Colonial Downs today. Big races there. The Virginia Derby's there as well. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow for the Rocket Hour at 11 a.m. Eastern.